Okay, when it comes to your best friend, they probably do some pretty spectacular and nice things for you, and maybe you for them as well. So you can imagine when my best friend's birthday was right around the corner, I thought to myself, well, I have to make an incredible card. Now, point of note, sometimes we should not put that kind of pressure on our creative juices because not everything goes right all the time, especially when you decide to try something brand new to you. So, Simon Hurley, your lunar pastes are lovely in spades. I absolutely love how they coordinate with my outfit. This one is called Rosy Cheeks. This one is Crown Me, particularly effective for me because I feel very princessy around birthdays. And this one's called Fake Plant, which I absolutely love. So you'll see in the video today a card that I'm making for Eric. Now, I'm going to tell you, I wish that I watched Simon Hurley's shorts on how to use lunar paste a million times before I made this video and card, but I didn't. I glanced at it and thought, hey, looks easy. Well, stick around and find out exactly how it turned out and what I went through to figure out how to make these pastes make a card that I was proud to give my best friend. Hi, I'm Sherry from Creating Sherry, and I believe a card is kindness that you can put in an envelope. So the good news is this card turned out just fine. However, getting there was a little bit of an adventure. So as I said in the intro, I really wish that I had stopped and watched a bunch of Simon Hurley's videos of how to do this. But you know what? Sometimes we just feel like giving it a shot, and that's what I did. So using this layered stencil with some balloons, I decided that I would ink up the background first and then overlay the lunar paste onto it. So I picked what I thought were two kind of complementary colors, and I thought, ooh, I want this nice light background. You'll find out later in the video that the light background didn't really do it for me. But I've got the two colors going, and what I've got next to me are some tools to be able to start using that lunar paste as well. So the first piece is done, and now I'm going to take the next layer of the stencil, and I'm going to grab that lunar paste. Ooh, fake plant, you are beautiful. Now, several times during this video, you'll see that I'm just sort of making stuff up. So I grab the palette and I start smearing it on, and then I kind of use it and I think, no, I should go back to that little putty knife type of thing. So then I try that and I am giving her. I am just going, going, going. And right about now, I'm thinking to myself, this is gorgeous, like buttercream. I'm like basically icing my card. But it wasn't exactly going the way I thought it should because I was going to put purple in the center there, but when I realized I was kind of mushing some green onto it anyways, I thought, let's go for the whole green and fake plant. You're my friend. Now, you're probably starting to understand as I was doing this, I wanted to kind of figure out which way was going to be best. So this time on the next one, I actually start with the lunar paste. I'm going for the purple. And what was that called again? Oh my gosh, it's something like Crown Me. That's right. How could I forget? So mixing it up with my palette knife. Ooh, look at how iridescent it is. Now, I want to just kind of go for it here. I want to sort of make some splotches. I want to get some nice mixed colors. I'm sure that I've seen Simon do that in many of his shorts. And so I go ahead and then at this moment realize I only have one palette knife and I can't dunk it into the next pot. Paper towel to the rescue. I will say for the record, lunar paste cleans up beautifully. Came off my stencil with no problem, my stencil mat with no problem. Oh, there's Bob. I grew up in the era of Bob Ross, and he told us to just go for it. So here's me going for it, Bob. I decide that I am going to do absolutely the Bob Ross way of just trying. Now, let's go smear that on. Okay, I don't know if you're like me, but as I do this, I'm sort of like, oh, that's not at all what I wanted. I wanted it to be more full and bright, but you know what? I'm in it, so I'm going to go for it more. Uh-oh. Now I'm starting to realize, well, now it's just all turning green. What have I done? So I decide, no, let me smear it on. Let me smear it off. It becomes the Karate Kid card where I'm waxing on and waxing off, friends. Uh-oh, I am not sure that I got this going on at all. How did I get these streaks everywhere? Now I've got the palette knife coming back in and all that goo. Okay, I realize the green is the dominant color here, so I decide I'll try and save myself by just going for it with the green and see if I can't get that to be perfect all the way across. Maybe there'll be some shimmer of that purple that comes through, But at this point, I'm thinking, I don't know. So now I go back to the buttercream method, and I am layering this down. I'm still just using what I took out of the jar the first time, and I'm smushing it out. This is where, friends, I should have just stopped and taken that stencil off. But I didn't. I'm Sherry, and I'm a little extra from time to time. So here's me scraping it all off again. If I had stopped, I think I would have got the effect I was going for by sort of filling up the spaces in the stencil. That's okay. We're just going to keep trying, right? Because learning is living. Now, I let these dry, and then frankly, I put my frustration aside and went for a walk with Luigi. Then I came back and said, okay, let's carry on with what I intended here. And I take out my ink and I'm going with the next stencil, so the layered stencil. And this time I'm stenciling my ink over top of the dried lunar paste that I originally did. I believe either method is completely fine as long as you are drying the lunar paste before you start putting anything onto it. So in this method, I'm going for the background. I want to kind of channel my inner Gina K and lightly kiss the paper with my ink here and not go too crazy with it. But as you can see, as I keep going, I finally realize the stenciling isn't going as easily as it does. Something is missing. And I realize, oh yeah, you know what? One of my favorite things, my waffle flower media mat is actually not on my surface, and I'm gliding all over the place. So I'm getting dark spots in my stencils. Well, as soon as I put that media mat down, I am sticking and staying in the exact spot I want to be in, and stenciling becomes a lot easier. Now, hot tip, Waffle Flower has come out with something called a grip mat, which is made for beautiful stenciling, and I'm hoping tomorrow on my shopping trip to the Paper Crafters Workshop that they have it in stock so I can pick one up for myself and upgrade my studio altogether. All right, so stenciling away over top of this. I don't know if you can tell, but the lunar pastes have this beautiful iridescent sort of shimmer to them. Let me take off that layer and show you. Yeah, okay, we got something going on here. Look at that shimmer. It's beautiful. Okay, so what comes up next, you might be asking? Well, I'm going to gaze at both of these and I'm going to realize I'm not really happy with the way that very light kiss of color in the background looked on the first one. So that's okay. It's dry and I'm ready. I'm going to go back in and I'm just going to go over the parts that I stenciled. So I'm just carefully putting the stencil back down to where it was before. My waffle flower mat is making it easy to line that stencil back up again. Going with the purple, a little bit with this greeny color, and I just want to darken up those background balloons so that it's got a little bit more kind of depth in the background that I'm creating. And at this point, I'll be honest, I'm sort of thinking this is the winner of the two cards, and I'm likely going to use it as a background in Eric's birthday card. But stay tuned to see if this is the one that I use. So here they are. Now, if you've never seen my craft room, I promise to do a studio tour one day, but I organize my cardstock in a file folder labeled by the color. So you can see here I am trying to figure out which color. See that first one I picked? Okay, that's a nice green, but look at all these other options I have. I want to go through them and I just want to get something that does Simon's Lunar Paste proud and it really kind of creates a card base that works well. Ooh, look at this one. Wait, it's the exact same one I picked out first. Friends, go with your gut instinct and pick the first color and just go with it. Okay, so here I go now, picking out a piece of green foil to do my sentiment with. Now my sentiment is a die cut. I'm going to show you some details of how I get that done. So first thing I want to do is tell you that a foil is a lovely punch of shine, and I am a bit of a magpie. I like glitter, I like foil, I like all the shiny things. So first thing I do is cut out. Now I went back and forward on this because this die is very detailed. You can't see it from sort of the round shape, but as I punch this out, you will understand that the little tiny die cuts, let me come in closer for you, around the letters are actually quite delicate. There's about a bajillion little holes for me to release the paper from the die. And this actually is quite a bit of work for me. I realized I should have used like a release paper or a wax paper between my foil and the die because it is really in there. But that's okay. A little patience goes a long, long way, friends. And in this beautiful die, it's going to be worth it, I know. So now I get the edge up and, ooh, just needs a little bit more of that poking to make sure that I get it to release. And wow. Okay, let's get some of those negative pieces out. And you can see This tiny, beautiful, thin, fine font is so pretty, and that little birthday balloon is going to be the center and star of the sentiment of the card. So now I start to realize that I want to raise it up. But when it's so thin like this, you can't just put a little bit of tape behind it. So I take this foam sheet, I cut it out to match the die, and I go ahead and I cut a full piece out again that I'm going to back the entire front green piece with. That will give it that nice loft and dimension and really make it something that stands out on the card. Mistake, did you catch it? I went backwards and forwards and yuck, look, the die skipped and I've got all kinds of crazy ideas and lines happening here. So I went off camera and I did it again, but I only went through one way because you can't go back and forward on foam, friends. Trust me. Okay, so now here I've got it. A little bit of finicky work, but it's worth it, right? These are handmade cards. This is my art coming to life. So I take it, I put it together, and I've got it under an acrylic block, resting and getting all nicely adhered. Now let's get those backgrounds back. As you can tell, because you'll see both of them here, I'm still not sure which one's going to make Eric's card. Now this might be the moment when you're watching and say, that really pretty foil balloon doesn't stand out very well on the backdrop. At least that's what I'm thinking. So I want my background to look beautiful, but of course I want the sentiment to stand out as well too. So I'm going to take this card and I'm going to start thinking a little bit more about how I want to put this together. It's not exactly what I want here. I want more of that green matte to come through because I want the lunar paste to be the focus. So now, when I use a colored cardstock for the base, I always like to put a white card on the inside. So I do that with just some double-sided tape. And I'm building out the front and now thinking, I really, really like it how it stands out on the white. So a quick tracing job and a couple of quick snips. Some people are very good at cutting things out like fussy cutting like this. I, not so much. So when I get it, I look at it and I think, ooh, that needs a little more trim. So I basically spiralize the edge down and I go ahead and I take the foil on the foam and I put it on this backer. And now, voila, I've got it resting under an acrylic block to really adhere nicely. But what about some glitter, friends? Oh yeah, I get myself from my stash a piece of purple glitter and I just add it to the back to make it pop a little bit. And because this is a balloon, we need a string. So I've got some silver string for me here. First goes down that purple glitter. Then I'm going to take the tape on the back of the balloon and wrap the string around it so it looks like it's tied to the balloon. I'm going to add the glue. I always use glue when I'm adhering to glitter because it sinks down into the different kind of crevices the glitter creates. All right, so now I've got that little string hidden behind the card. I'm going to put an extra bit of bling on the inside because that's me, friends. And I feel like this has turned out okay, but I've got just this scrap more of my purple glitter and I wanted to make this whole experience of joy start when the envelope was handed to Eric. So there we go, friends. A beautiful embellished envelope, a beautiful outcome on the card with a couple of turns around the way. Friends, I make these videos for every Thursday and I live stream on Mondays. And I am new at this, so I would love you to connect me with people who you think love card making and crafting. Please would you go ahead and subscribe? And of course, I'd love you to watch more. Thanks for being here, friends.